Hello everyone, good evening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope all of you are doing great. So today I would like to talk about the continuity of our previous video or my previous video about fictional story. It is about short story. So I would like to talk about how to conclude the moral value, how to examine the language feature, and how to make a short story. Before that, as usual, I'd like to ask your condition. Are you happy today? I hope so. So here is the material that I would like to give to you. The first is how to conclude the moral value of a short story. We know that the structure of short story are 6 parts. The first is abstracts, or the resume of the short story. The second is orientation, the introduction of the story. It consists of the character and also the setting of the story. The third is complication. In this part contains of the rise or appears the problem. So the problem firstly appears in this part until would like to be a complex problem or climax. Next structure or next part of story structure is evaluation. This is the peak, or this is the main problem appears, or the very complicated problem is discussed in this part. And then there is resolution, or how to solve the main problem or the peak of the story. After resolution there is coda. Coda can be stated or can be called as a part which contains of moral value of the story. So how to conclude the moral value of the story can be seen or can be found in this last part of short story structure. It is coda. Or if there is no coda, we can examine every paragraph in the short story. If we have understood about the main idea of every paragraph, we can conclude it directly. Believe me, if we have understood the main idea of each or every paragraph, it means we can conclude the moral value of the story, because actually in this level or grade, I mean in the junior high school grade, the short story is not as complicated as the higher level, especially in the 11th grade or in the senior high school. Okay, I guess that you have understood or you have known about how to conclude the moral value of the text or the short story. Next, I would like to and then the next discussion or the next material that I would like to tell to you is the language feature of short stories. We know that this is fictional text. It means there is effect from the language itself. For example, like there is what's that? Let me think. I forget the name, but I understood how to tell it to you. Oh yeah, it is about, in Indonesia we call it as majas. Majas, or the language style, is a language which have special effects for the paragraph. For example, there is hyperbole. It means the effect of hyperbole is making something too much. The next is personification. So there is a thing which have characteristic like human. The next is metaphor. It is membandingkan. Yeah, it's membandingkan, or it is like compare. I'm sorry, in a sense, it's comparing one to another, which don't have similarity but have same meaning. For example of metaphor is life is roller coaster. So life is roller coaster means sometimes roller coaster are in up or in the below, above or on or below. I mean the track sometimes is go up, sometimes go down. Same as the life of the creatures or of life or person. Next, I would like to talk about how to make a short story. The first, decide the theme. The second, you must list the framework. For example, like the elements, the intrinsic elements, and then you can develop the intrinsic elements to be part of structure, and finally you can write or you can make a short story. I think that's all for today's meeting. I'm sorry if there's inconvenient situation or my bad word or attitude. I'm really sorry. The last I say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Cheerio.